Welcome to the CEO Growth Formula, and we're going to be talking to you today about how to build a company that runs without you. That's right. If you're a CEO, that's your job, is to work yourself out of a job. And if you just are working in your job and you're not doing that and working yourself out of a job, you aren't really a leader. You're not a CEO. You're just a worker. And so there's a quote that I read. It said, if your business can't function without you, you don't have a business. You have a job. And so the most successful CEOs don't look at just the job that they're doing, but their role is to grow their businesses and to grow their companies. And they build their businesses so they can scale their business without their constant involvement. And so that's when we talk about working ourselves out of a job. We're empowering others with the vision, with the goals that we have for the company so that it can run and we can just continue to bring things to a whole nother level. So we're going to get into it, and I believe that it's going to help you today, the tools that we're going to download to help you to be able to do that. So many CEOs and business owners, they find themselves stuck in daily operations. And I've been an entrepreneur. When you're an entrepreneur, you're a CEO, you're a CFO, you're a COO, you do everything. But as we begin to scale, we want to work ourselves out of a job and empower other people, begin to employ other people to do the things that are the mundane, day-to-day things to be able to, so that we can focus on bringing our company to a whole another level. And so in order for us to bring high-value training to you that is going to help you and impact you, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us to subscribe to our channel. That's right. Hit the subscribe button below so you can get notified. We're going to have constant contact and content, I should say, coming to you every week. And so look out for those things. Hit that subscribe button. So many CEOs, they're stuck in daily operations. They're stuck doing HR. I know one of the things I hated to do as an entrepreneur is the accounts. I had to close the accounts every month, and I'm trying to save resources at that point in time, and we'd outsource to a CPA at the end of the year. But all those things would take out time from me and cause me to get drained in certain things. And so whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a CEO in a corporation, it's important for us to understand these things. So how many of you have ever felt that your business, that you struggle in your business, if you stepped away from your business for a month, what would that look like? Would you still have a business? Well, that means that this episode is important for you. Are you truly leading, or are you just running the day-to-day tasks? And someone said movement is not progression. And so we don't want to be just doing the day-to-day tasks. We want to be able to empower others so we can bring our business to a higher level. We can help to scale our business. We can help to do things better. So we're going to jump in this today. Again, if you have any comments, put your comments in the chat. Our team will do their best to answer those comments, and we want to be able to help you and, again, add value to you. So today we're going to break down the role of the CEO Growth Formula, and it's a framework that helps you shift from being the bottleneck in your business to begin to build a scalable business that thrives without your daily involvement. And I love that. I've started many different businesses, but I love the fact I can go on vacation, or sometimes I'm traveling for 3 weeks, but when I come back, the business is still running. Sometimes the team has stepped up and things are even better than they were when I was around. And so that's what we want to see. So let's jump into it. And today I want to deal with a principle here, and I want to ask you, are you an operator or are you an architect? Are you an operator or are you an architect? And we need to shift from just being an operator. Now, when I talk about an operator, what am I talking about? An operator is in the trenches. And so they're in the trenches, and they are going through and doing things. Let me just change the color here for you so y'all can see that a bit better. They're in the trenches. They're working hard, doing their best. And many CEOs, they work 60, 70 hours a week trying to bring things higher. As an entrepreneur, someone said you work 70 hours a week so you don't have to work 40. And that's very true in starting a business. So if you an operator's in the trenches, and what are they doing? They're handling everything. And why do we do that? Well, many reasons we do that. One of them is because we think no one else can do it as good as we can. And sometimes we are the most qualified person, we are the most skillful person, but we've got to let others do it at the level they can do it and help them to scale higher and bring their expertise to another level. If not, that's why we burn out. If not, that's why our business bottlenecks and we're not able to begin to scale because we're spending all of our time in the trenches handling everything. We're not really, we're not an architect, we are an operator. Now, what does an architect do? If you look at an architect, what do? They design systems. And so, as a CEO, what's our job? To design systems that we can put in place. We call them KPIs. We call them SOPs, standard operating procedures. We're going to break that down a little bit for you today and put those things in place so that there's a standard that we would want, a standard that we set that others need to attain to. And so as we put those things in, we're designing systems that are going to help us in our business, help us in our company to maintain the standard that we're wanting to have. What do? They build teams. An African proverb says this: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, we have to go together. And so we want to build teams and have a team that comes together with like-mindedness, that embrace the vision, the mission of our company, the purpose of our company, and we can work together, empowering each one on the team. You look at a football team, not everybody can throw. Not everybody's great and fast. Some people on the front line and they're as big as refrigerators and nobody gets by them, but they're not probably the best person to be the quarterback or to be the halfback. So everyone has a skill, and we put them in the right positions, we win. You can apply that to any sports. You can apply that to your business. So an architect is all about building teams, and they're also about building the structures. So we want to have the right structures that will help our business to be strong. So sometimes in starting a business, we have scaffolding. And what's scaffolding? When you're building a building, you ever seen it? Those are those big metal, things. There's ladders to them, and they kind of hold things up. But they're not the foundation. They're not pillars. And so when we're starting to build a business, we got to look for the scaffolding. Sometimes it's just somebody who can help out, and that might not be their expertise. But we're looking for the right people so we can put pillars in those positions on the team. And as we design systems, what's going to happen? It's going to help us to begin to scale. All right, so let's talk about adopting this mindset. And we want to break this down a little bit more for you. How can we adopt the architect's mindset? And so as we're wanting to move again from just being in operations to becoming an architect, how do we do that? Many business owners, they start out as employees. And we've got to move beyond the mindset of being an employee to being a leader. When growth happens, what happens? We then have to change how we think about our role. If we just want to be doing a job and we just love doing one thing, we're probably not suitable to be the entrepreneur or to be the CEO of our business. Just do what you love to do and stick in that lane. But as a CEO, we've got to multitask. And again, we've got to be a trainer. We've got to be the coach. We've got to be the one that's empowering the team to be able to follow the systems, follow our SOPs, and begin to bring things to another level. So we've got to change our mindset. As a CEO, it's not about working harder. It's not about doing more, but it's about helping others to do more and to be more effective. And so it's so important for us to understand that. And so I'm sure you've heard about what we call the 80-20 rule. So as we look at this, there is the 80-20 rule. And what does it mean when we talk about the 80-20 rule? That means we need to focus on high impact. What's our goal? It's high impact. What can you do that will bring about high impact into your business, into your company, into the role that you're wanting to empower other people to do? So we talk about high impact activities. What are they? Well, some of them, let's just list them out. One would be strategy. We need to be having time to strategize. We need to be having time to begin to be of that visionary, to bring things up to another level, to begin to refine the things that are happening in our company, to look at what's working and look what is not working. But if we're just busy and we're not having high impact, we're just doing business, and what happens? We wonder at the end of the year, well, why were we successful? Why didn't we hit our goals? Why didn't we hit the targets that we had? Because we're just so busy working. And so we need to understand that. We've got to be focusing, again, on the vision. So out of vision, again, comes the strategy. But what's the vision? What are we wanting to see? What new programs, what new plans are we wanting to see this year to bring things to another level? Also partnerships. Coming up with strategic partnerships that will help us to come to another level. And so sometimes a strategic partnership is outsourcing to someone that can do something cheaper at a higher level than maybe hiring another staff. And so looking at that technology, all of these things are very important for us to understand. But what are low value tasks? So we have high impact, we also have low impact. And so what's the low impact? This would be things like emails, going through our emails, spending time, hours and hours just responding to emails that we could get someone else to do and pay them, and we don't need to spend all that time responding to certain emails. There's software out there that helps you to categorize your emails. I use that because I get hundreds of emails every day. I could spend half a day just reading through emails, sorting my emails. So I use technology that helps me to categorize the emails, and there's a lot of great software that's out there. So what else? Admin work. Things like accounts, things like, just reading through unnecessary reports and things like that. So you get the picture and you can fill in. What's low impact? It's not helping to bring your business to another level. And so in business, what do we talk about a lot? We talk about this thing called ROI. So what are we getting a return on our investment? Are you getting a return from emails? Are you getting a return from just doing admin work? Are you getting a return from just doing those mundane things? You can hire someone else to do it. You can empower someone else to do it. Again, in the beginning, as an entrepreneur or a small company, you may have to do a lot of these things. But what's the goal? Work yourself out of these mundane jobs, these low impact jobs. So what can we have? We can now have high impact. And that's the goal, that's the role for us, that we can focus on strategy, we can focus on vision, we can focus on partnerships with others, strategic partnerships to help bring our business to another level. So vision and direction is what? Setting long-term strategy. It's important for us to understand we need to know the direction of our business. We want things to come to another level. We want to upscale things. We're going to have the vision. We're going to have the strategy and keep that before and continue to come in and check where we're at moving towards the goal and refine things as we go along. Building systems and teams has to do with empowering others to execute. And so when we have teams and we're building those teams, other people can execute and do the mundane things that we don't want to do. And then we're making high-level decisions. We're only handling the things that truly require our CEO output. And so my main role, in my businesses is helping to scale those things, is bringing quality training, is adding the value and doing things that maybe I'm the only one could do, even though we have a team. And what am I the best at? Putting my focus into that. And sometimes the business, what am I doing? I'm developing that leadership team. My whole focus is developing managers, developing other leaders in different departments that can bring things, to another level. And so it's so important for us to understand that. So how do we begin to do this? If step one is adopting the architect's mindset, how do we begin to do this? Well, I'm glad you asked. All right. What is the key? You need to systemize everything. So what does that speak of? Begin to systemize everything. Systems are so important. And sometimes, I'm a driver myself, but one thing about a driver is we'll put in things that help us, and sometimes we don't like to just focus on systems. We want to be just visionizing and moving forward and in that dream zone and things, but we got to put systems in place. And I've realized as I grow, Systems are so important because when my focus is not on something, I realize things begin to wane, they begin to dip. But if I have systems in place and everyone understands what's expected of them, then whether my attention is on it or not, it's going to continue to run according to the system. So a business that depends on you is not scalable. So we've got to, again, as we're looking at moving forward, take you out of the equation. And so what does that mean? That again, you're not focused on just doing the work, your focus is on helping others to do the work at a higher level, and again, to bring things to another level so you can scale your business. So what are the business bottlenecks? As we look at things, let's talk about bottlenecks. What are the business bottlenecks? These are things that are keeping your business from coming to the next level. I do coaching with many CEOs, entrepreneurs, and the problem is they're just frustrated. They're working so hard, but it's like they're hitting this bottleneck and they're not breaking through. They're not moving forward into their goals. They spend all this time having goals, having vision, but it's not coming to pass. What is the reason for that? Because you're doing tasks that only you can do. So sometimes the bottleneck is tasks. Tasks that only you can do. So what is the solution to that? You need to empower other people to do those tasks. Train them to do it so then you again can put systems in place, put people in place, and move on from the tasks that are taking up the majority of your time and bottlenecking your organization. Decisions. Decisions are delayed. Why? You're the only decision maker. You haven't empowered anyone to make a decision. So what happens? Everyone's waiting on you to respond to their email. They're waiting on you to approve their project, and you can't grow. You can't grow an organization that way. You can't grow as an entrepreneur. You can't grow in a church in a structure like that. And so many times we have an upside down structure. We structure like this in a triangle. If you look at a triangle, excuse my drawing, that's my best skill, but in a triangle, what happens? You're the CEO. And everything is teeter-tottering on you. It's teeter-tottering on you. And what happens? If you fall, the whole thing is going to fall. And because, again, everything's bottlenecked with you. But what do we need to do? We need to reverse this. And so what do we need to do? Is we need to come forth. We need to reverse this. It's my eraser here. And so what do? We begin to change things where we build the team to where the triangle is reversed. And so you are the CEO that is there. Excuse me, I should draw it this way so you can see a little bit clearer. But you are the CEO, and you're not at the bottom of the triangle, you're at the top of the triangle. And so you're leading the way, you're coming higher, you're going to the place where now people can come to you, but what you have the foundation here. And so what would you have here? You'll have your support staff. Or your admin staff. You have your managers. Then you can put in your CFOs, your COOs, and so forth. And then as a CEO, you're at the top. And therefore, you're not bottlenecked. But if the triangle is reversed, then what happens? You are there now at the bottom, and things are going to fall over. And so, again, as a CEO, you want to reverse that triangle. You want to come to the place where you're at the top, giving orders, giving vision. As a visionary, you need to be at the top where you can see. If you're at the bottom, you're so overwhelmed by the admin and the day-to-day things and what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to focus and you're not going to be able to see. You got to come higher. And so to come higher, you need to begin to focus on raising other people up so that they can begin to help you. And so, again, then you're also involved in repetitive projects. You're involved in repetitive projects where you're just involved in doing the same thing over and over that someone else could do. So again, we need to get rid of this. We need to systemize everything, get rid of the bottlenecks, begin to delegate tasks that others can do, and don't think you're the only one can do it. And yeah, it's frustrating. I get it. Taking risks on people, training people, because sometimes you get frustrated that they're not doing it at the level that you want them to do it at. But that's what we need to do. We need to raise them up. We need to help them mature them. We need to get the people that are skilled and qualified in to do those things. And again, not bottlenecking our decisions. Empower people to make the decisions. Get senior staff, get managers, get people that you can empower to make a decision. And that doesn't mean that they are not accountable. There's a reporting system there, but they understand the power that they have to make decisions. So things are moving quickly. They're not bottlenecking, and you're not doing repetitive projects that take all your energy. And again, you have no energy to scale the company. So how do we fix these things, all right? How do we fix these things? And we're talking about creating system. So what is the fix? How do we begin to implement those systems? Well, the first thing we can do is begin, as I mentioned this word earlier, document your process. And what does this speak of? Come up with what we call your SOPs. What's your standard operating procedure? In our office, we have a policy. All emails have to be replied within 48 hours. And so that's a standard procedure that we have. We have a procedure when it comes to getting invoices. We have a procedure when it comes to claims. And so we have these standard operating procedures, so I can entrust our office manager to handle those things. I can trust our marketing team to handle those things. Our buyer who's working on our team doing our ads, they have a budget. They have, they've been empowered to make the decisions and their expertise, but there's a budget. They don't blow the budget. They know what their daily budget is, what their monthly budget is, but I empower them to use that to the best of their ability, but I'm still checking in. And so it's not relegating authority, but it's delegating that authority. So document your process. Identify what are the most time-consuming things. And begin to delegate those things to someone else. And in every industry, it's going to be different. What are the repetitive tasks that you're doing? What are the processes that are failing? So put together a step-by-step process. One of the exercises I did in one of the businesses and organizations I was running and a key player in is we set up what we call our ISO. And what was that? ISO is very big about standard operating procedures. And so every department had their standard operating procedures. And again, it can be time consuming, but it's going to save you time in the long run. And so these things are very important. Second thing, and I mentioned this earlier, is leverage technology. There's a lot of great technology out there, and there's some things. I'm not the creative guy that uses all the creative software, but I know the business software, and I love using software. For our customer service management systems, we have software that helps us to schedule posting of our social media in the marketing department. We have software that helps us communicate with our database. That we set it, we come up with the emails, and then basically it's set, and emails go out at a certain amount of time. We have texts that go out. All these systems, they help us to automate our whole registration for courses and things like that. It's all automated. People can log in, do it, and we don't have to have someone calling them to take payment. It's all automated. And so these are simple things, but they are examples of what we can do to automate things. So again, use project management tools, automate scheduling, invoicing, and reports. And again, there is a cash investment, but it's going to save you time in the long run. And some of our smaller organizations that we run, we outsource our accounts. Why? It's much cheaper than having a full-time accountant. And they're able to go in, having a bookkeeper that comes in, and once a month, they look through all our books, they close our accounts, they prepare the reports, so it's ready for the CPA at the end of the year, and that's done monthly. But it's much more affordable than me hiring a full-time staff to do that, paying their, the payroll tax and the benefits and all those kind of things. And so it's important for us to begin to understand those things, okay? And then create decision-making frameworks. Create decision-making frameworks. So when I talk about creating frameworks, what are we talking about? Instead of answering every question, teach your team how to think like you do. And so teach your team how to answer those questions. And so it's so important, like, even times when you go in and you have bots sometimes and they have those chats and it's not a real person. What have they done? They program that AI, that bot, to begin when someone asks a question to give the answer to those questions. Many times you go into the help section on a website and they have the frequently most asked questions and all the answers are there. Well, that's doing the same thing with our staff and helping them to think like you. And so I always tell my team, I said, don't just come to me with a problem. Don't just come to me with a question, but I want you to think and brainstorm, what do you think the solution is? What do you think the answer is? And then come and present it to me if you're not sure. And so what am I doing? I'm training them to think strategically. I'm training them to think, what would I do? And sometimes they kill it, sometimes they got it. Sometimes they have better ideas than me, but other times, that's not gonna work, and I have to refine it. But what am I doing? It helps me not to have to go and research and find out all the details and talk to the whole team and come up with a decision. They're on the ground, and therefore they're able to make that decision. And so there's great frameworks and things out there that you can put together. Now, I just want to let you know that we have a business and marketing health assessment for your business, and this is totally free. You can go into the description, click on that, and it's going to rate your business. It's going to give you questions about where you're at in your business, help you to do a health check. And so again, check out that link in the description. We want to give that free resource to you to check out where you are at in your company and what's the health of your business. If you're an entrepreneur, again, in a place of leadership in your company, check out that resource. It's going to help you. All right, so what do we need to do is we're moving through how to have the CEO growth formula. We looked at the first thing we need to do. We need to adopt the architect's mindset. Number 2, we need to systemize everything. And let's move to number 3. All right, number 3, you've got to build your leadership team. And so we touched on this a little bit. Now, when I talk about the leadership team, build a leadership team that what? Owns the business. Now, they might not be a shareholder, but what am I saying? They take ownership for the business. They're just not a worker. They're just not a hireling. And we need those people too who just come in, they work their 8 hours, they do their job to the best of their ability. And they're not really focused on taking ownership in the business or wanting to see the business come to another level. They're just working. And we need that. You need the worker bees and they just do tasks. But ultimately, what do we want to do? Create a team and hire people that will take ownership of the business with us. And again, no one works on their business like an entrepreneur. No one works on their business like the CEO, because our bonuses are attached to that and the performance of the business is attached to that. But train that mindset in your people to take ownership, give them a career path so they know the path to promotion and what is required, what they're looking for. I love the hotel industry. You can have someone who started out in the kitchen and they ended up being a manager of a hotel, or even buying a hotel and managing the hotel, because they have such an infrastructure of a career path that they bring people in and they help them to get trained in all the departments, and they cross promote, and you can promote within. And what do they do? They're learning the business, and you can start from that place. You hear those stories and sometimes watch those movies of the guy who started in the mailroom and worked himself up because he knows everything about the company. He's been in every department. And that's a great goal, a great picture of that. But giving your employees, your team, a career path, and what are you looking for in them. And so it's so important for us. Many CEOs struggle with delegation because they don't trust their team. And so what's the issue here to be able to do this? It's the T word. We've got to begin to trust our team and hire quality people that we can trust. And how do you trust them? Well, giving them a little responsibility and letting them grow into it. It's okay to make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, they fix them and they learn from their mistakes and they do better. And so great CEOs, the thing you can see about them is that they are those who think like owners. They think like owners. And so again, we want to help bring ownership into our team, working with people, start trusting them. I'm not saying giving them authority without them being responsible. We only give authority to people who are responsible, but you need to give them responsibility and let them have authority in the area they've been responsible. And then as they've proven themselves to be faithful, they've proven themselves to be trustworthy, then what do we begin to do? We begin to increase that level of authority. Now, how do you build an ownership mindset in your team? What do we need to do? A few things that we need to do to build that mindset. Number one, we need to hire leaders, not just employees. It's amazing. Sometimes you go for an interview and you're interviewing someone and they ask you, what are the benefits? How much time off do I have? What's my salary? All of those things are important. Before they even wonder and ask what the job is going to be, what's the job description, what's their role, what's the vision, the mission of the company, how can they, get promoted, and what do they come in? They're just employees. They're just there to get the most amount of money, the most amount of benefits, and the least amount of work that they can do. And that's very much the mindset of the generation. I was reading an article the other day, and they were saying when we look at the Gen X and those that have come up, millennials, and many of these have come up, that they're out in the marketplace, they're getting fired because they're just entitled, they don't want to work hard, they don't want to go the extra mile, and they're getting fired. So if you are a motivated person, if you're a leader in this industry, in this day and age, you can find a job, you can get promoted because it's hard to find people like that. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for leaders, not just employees. Look for people who will take initiative. And again, when we talk about leadership, it's what they're willing to take initiative, or I use the word they're hungry sometimes for promotion and to do more, and begin to train and begin to equip these people. Secondly, give them autonomy. Give them autonomy in their role, and begin to allow them to make decisions. What does that mean? Give them autonomy and then let them make decisions. I've been doing business for a year. I've been in leadership in different roles for years. And when I started out, it's hard to trust people. I always, think I can do it better. I can do it faster. But the hardest thing for me as a leader was to sit back and let other people do it and let them fail. And it's okay for them to fail, but fail forward. And I'm not talking about something that's detrimental to your company, but what I found is sometimes people would bring me ideas and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work, but I let them try it because the team that works with them thinks that it's a working solution. They think it's going to work. And honestly, some things I thought, I don't know if this is going to work, but it's not going to hurt anything. And I let them try a marketing campaign or do something. And to my surprise, they killed it. To my surprise, it went to a whole nother level. And so, for instance, we started our podcast. We have our podcast going, and I've been doing podcasts for years now. But when I first started doing podcasts, to me, I'm like, who's going to just sit and listen to me ramble? Who's going to sit and just listen to me and just talk about things? And I like a crowd, I like an audience, I like doing stuff with team. But when we did the podcast went viral. The podcast took off in different arenas, and people are all commenting about how great it is. And so my team came up with that idea. But for me, I'm a bit more old school. I wanted to do more of a training and have a crowd there and train and have workbooks and materials and things like that, which is a very model in the 80s and 90s. But now people are quick learners. People like information. They like podcasts. They like what we're doing here today. And so I'm willing to adapt. Why? Because I want to serve people. I want to help people. And so the method changes. And so we've got to be open to those things. And again, empower our team. Give them autonomy and let them make decisions. And then we need to very importantly, and I know many people are sitting back and concerned about this, we've got to then develop a culture of accountability. So develop a culture accountability. If I hadn't been a business person, I would have been a doctor probably. Accountability. All right, so accountability is very important. And so this is something that we need to understand, and this is something that we empowers the whole thing and gives us the ability to trust people, as that we hold them accountable. So again, we give them the structure, we give them their authority. We're not giving them a blank check, but we hold them accountable to it. So how do we do that? You form your KPIs. And so what are your KPIs? Those are the things that are your expectations that you have for them. And so they need to understand these are the goals, these are the boundaries, this is what is expected of them. And then what do? We track their performance. We track, is what they're doing working? If not, we come and we refine it. We have that conversation. Is this working or not? Do we need to refine it? Or do we need to axe it and do something else? And so that's very important for us. So what does a bad CEO do? I've given some examples there. A bad CEO says, I need to check everything before it goes out. I need to read everything before it goes out. And understand, when you're starting, sometimes you have to do that. But ultimately, you need to empower them to do it and hold them accountable. They make a mistake, they have to make it right. What's a great CEO do? They said, my team knows the brand standards and they have authority to approve the content. Now, again, we've got to go back where we create. We're not talking about just giving every employee that authority, but what are we doing? Again, when we go back to our triangle example, where's my triangle? We go back to our triangle example here. We are now building the team, and so we trust our managers. We trust those that are, we've empowered them to do it, and so therefore we're giving them that authority to be able to manage it and to manage the team and to be effective in what they are doing. And so it's very important, again, we need to hire leaders that will take initiative, give them autonomy, let them make the decisions, and then what? Develop a culture of accountability, have those KPIs, and begin to, again, track their progress, and hold them accountable to what they said that they're going to do and the goals that they've set. Now, we begin to do that. That allows us to focus on different departments. We can focus on helping the different teams in our organization come to another level and remove the bottleneck. All right, let's take it another step forward. You ready for step 4? Step 4, you have to measure what matters. So you can't step back if you don't have visibility in your business. And so we need to have metrics. What are the metrics? These are, again, our KPIs. These are where we're measuring the success of a department, the success of our business, and we need to have those tracking systems. So again, there's the accountability. And I know, sometimes as CEOs, as drivers in businesses, we're control freaks. We want to control everything. We think we can do everything ourselves. And I work with people like that. And so, I worked in my real estate business, and we had a high profile client. The client was, selling a multi-million-dollar home. We went in, we killed the listing appointment with one of my team members. I was there because of the price range of it and helping my team members. And so we took the listing, and we're ready to get to work. Well, this guy was a high-profile guy. He was the CEO of a company and running the business, and he would check on everything. He wanted to critique our flyer. He wanted to critique the pictures. And so we did everything at a high level, and we killed it. But then, during the open houses, he's supposed to go and, give us our 4 hours to run the open house. Well, he was riding around the neighborhood, looking at the positionings of the sign. He was critiquing everything that happened. They had cameras in the home. They were listening to the conversation of all the agents, and then would call and critique. And why did they say this and why did they say that? And didn't have a full understanding of the business. And I was thinking, thank God I didn't work for that guy in his business, because most likely he does the same thing to his employees. And you're going to run your employees off if you do that. And so finally I had to say, hey, you hired us as professionals. These are the goals that we have set. Let us do our job and quit breathing down the neck of our employees, of my staff. because you're stressing them out. No one wants someone watching you and listening to everything you say and all those kind of things. And so I had to come in and, a lion deals with a lion, a driver deals with a dryer, and put him in his place and say, hey, that's why we make the big money, is to get this goal and bring him back to his motivation, why you hired us, and say, hey, do our job. If you don't think we're doing our job, you're not happy with us, it's okay, we can cancel the contract. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want to cancel the contract. And guess what? We had his house sold in 2 weeks, and we got him over asking, and everything happened. But that shows the mentality. If we're breathing down people's necks all the time, we need to let them do their jobs. And why did we hire them? Because they are going to be skilled in what they're doing, all right? Again, but have the metrics, have the tracking systems, but don't control them. So what should a CEO track, okay? What should we track? First thing that we need to track is the financial health. The financial health of the business. My brain's working faster than my pen. All right, the financial health. And so that's very important. And what does this have to do? Is us looking at the budgets. So we want to look at the budgets. We can have, a CFO that helps us, chief financial officer that helps us. But in the beginning, we're still looking at the budgets. We need to look at the macro budget. Are we hitting our targets? Are we getting an ROI on our investment? What is the revenue? What's the profit margin? What's the cash flow? And then we need to manage the team performance. How is the team progressing? That's what we're looking for. How is the team? Are they struggling or are they doing well? And it's so important for us. That's the coaching part of us. We need to encourage the team. We need to motivate the team. But at the same time, we need to see how they're progressing. And I deal with many people in the financial realm. And during the COVID time, when the economy was down for a season, the businesses, they were saying, how can we cut back on the commissions that our sales staff is getting? And I began to coach them and say, that's the worst thing you could do. When business is shutting down, you don't lower their commissions because you're lowering the motivation. I said, you should up your commissions. Because if they don't sell, you don't have to pay anything. But if business is down, why would you want to cut their motivation? I said, up their commissions, give them another 10%, give them another 15%, so they're going to be even more motivated to go out and sell, and maybe your bottom line's affected, but now you're motivating them to bring in more business, and you want the team to perform. And so again, we have to manage all those moving parts by motivation, whether it's a commission scale or a bonus scale or a promotional scale. The budgets, they need the budgets to do what they need to do. I've been in businesses and they want to cut the budget. I said, you can't cut anymore or we're going to be handicapped and not be able to meet our goals. And so I'm like, if we need to go, we got to go to the board, we got to go to the decision maker and talk about this, but I need this amount minimal to be able to do what I've been hired or called to do. And so it's so important for us. So managing the financial health, managing the team performance, are the leaders meeting the goal? Is the team meeting the goal? And then again, customer satisfaction, very important. Who's our client? Who's our customer? Whether you're in a service industry, whether you're in a product industry, we need to get feedback because you can do business for a while, but if the customer satisfaction is not there, what's going to happen? You're going to lose customers. And so it's very important we look at our chum rates. That's one tool you can use, or you can look at the NPS scores or have a feedback system for client feedback on the salesperson, or there's many ways that you can do that. But we need to get feedback. And so you look at the big multinational corporations, you always are getting email, you buy a car. I do that with my real estate business. We do that with our customers at the end, ask them to rate. In our agency, in Pure Media, which we're doing this through Pure Media, how are you impacted by this? What was the value that we brought to you? They'll send us videos. We use all those things. And it helps us in our promotion, but it also helps us to know what could we have done better? How could we have done things better? Or where do we kill it? And what was a win? So we can strengthen those things. So how do we implement it? You've got to set up dashboards. Google Data Studio is great. Power BI, CRM reports, and set up a system that you're able to monitor. It doesn't have to be so complicated in the beginning, but again, find softwares that work for you. People ask me, well, what's the best software? software, the one you like. And so there's many softwares out there. They're different, interfaces and things. Find the one you like, okay? And again, have weekly leadership check-ins. Check in with your team to see how they're performing. Maybe it's a monthly check-in, maybe it's a weekly check-in. I have weekly check-ins with some of my team. I have quarterly check-ins. I have monthly check-ins, depending on the role that they're having and again, how much time they need to implement to have success, and then we evaluate those things. Now, if a problem arises, fix the system, not the symptom. And so this is very important, and I'll write this up here because it's such an important principle. Fix the system. Not the symptom. So again, when we talk about this, what are we looking at many times? We're looking at the symptom and not the system. So what's the symptom? It's the problem. Don't just look at the problem. Well, I have a problem. What are you doing? You're putting out fires all the time. But the system is producing the symptoms. The system is producing the symptoms, the problems. So fix the system. Is it the right person and the person that's not in the right place? Is it a budgeting issue or we're not maximizing things at the level that we could? How can we minimize our expenses? How can we increase productivity? Is it customer satisfaction? What are the things that are there? So fix the system, not the symptom. And this is something that I always constantly remind myself, and sometimes it's not just sometimes the system is the person running the system. Or sometimes we need our system to progress. It's not working at the level we need it to as we're scaling our business. We need to always fine-tune our systems. And so instead of checking every customer complaint, what does a CEO do? He builds customer experience playbooks and lets the team handle it. Now, if you're benefiting from all that you heard today, we would love to offer you higher value. And so we have our strategic growth consultations that are available. The information is in the description. We want to help you. Maybe you're frustrated. You're dealing with problems here, in your system. Maybe you're having issues with team performance, financial health, customer satisfaction, issues with your marketing. We are here to help you, and it's totally free for a consultation with our team. The information is there in the description. Book that consultation. We'd love to talk with you and help you and see what we can provide in terms of a system, coaching, or one of our services to help you so that you can focus on what you do best as the CEO. Now, we're going to give you also a free book, an ebook called The Ultimate Guide to Top 5 Marketing Techniques that are working. Again, the ultimate guide to the top 5 marketing techniques that are working. That's also in the description. Again, we want to add value to you and help you to be successful. And let us know, write to us, put in the comments as you do those things, how this has helped you. Again, you can pause this right now and go and fill out that and book your call or download that free ebook for you. All right, I hope you are getting some value out of this today. And so what do we need to do is we want to begin to scale. We need to, number 5, design for scale. What do I mean, design for scale? The final step in preparing your business to grow without losing efficiency is you got to design it to scale. And so again, I've heard, I've used this comment, this statement, and I use it a lot in my coaching, that the problem is created at a level of thinking. And if you want to solve a problem, you've got to bring your thinking to a higher level to solve that problem. You can't solve a problem at the level of thinking it was created. You've got to increase your thinking, and as your thinking comes to a higher level, you're able to see the problem differently and solve the problem. Well, this is all about scaling. We scale ourselves in our mindset. I'm always learning. I'm always reading. You look at successful people of millionaires, people successful. Warren Buffett, they say that he reads 4 to 5 hours a day. He reads every single financial literature that's out there on a daily basis. No wonder Berkshire Hathaway is so successful. You look at top millionaires, they read an average of 2 to 3 books a month. The average person doesn't even read one book a month. And so I'm sure if you're a CEO like myself, I'm reading multiple books at the same time, but you've got to change your level of thinking. And then we've got to always be looking for better ways, new systems. If it's not broken, don't fix it, but fine tune it and scale it. And so again, as we're growing and scaling our business, we need to focus on this. So ask yourself, can your business handle 10 times the demand without breaking? We always want to scale our businesses, but if your business today, you had 10 times the customers, 10 times the demand for your products, 10 times orders for your services, could your business handle it? If not, you need to look at scaling, because how can your business increase if you can't handle 10 times? So how could you 10 times increase? If you're not able to do that, put systems in that would enable you to scale. You don't want to always be chasing after it, because you're going to lose customers, you're going to have a problem with your inventory. But again, do you have the ability to do it? Now, I'm not saying scale first, but as the demand comes in, you've got to be ready with the supply in your service team or in your products, okay? And then are your systems and team ready for more complexity? Can you handle more complexity? It's a competitive market out there. And so you've got to be able to handle more complexity as the market changes, as things adapt with the introduction of AI and all the things that are happening. There's more competition. It gets more complex. Are you able to handle that? And then thirdly, can your leadership team run the company if you stepped away for 6 months? I call this the 6-month rule. If you stepped away and, I'm going on a sabbatical, I'm going to go and start up a, subsidiary for our business, are you able to manage? Are they able to manage? Are they able to handle the business without you? If not, you haven't designed for scale yet, because again, what is your job? To work yourself out of a job. So how to future-proof your business? Build a succession plan. How do we begin to do this? Build a succession plan. So what are you doing? You're building successors that could take over what you're doing. You're training up people that can do what you do. And God forbid they have an illness, God forbid something happens and you're an entrepreneur. If you were out of the picture, would your business close down? If it would, you have a job, again, you're not a CEO, which is the thought that we started this training with. So again, do you have a succession plan? Who's your successor? Who are you investing in to try to train up to do what you do? Number 2, are your systems and team ready for, number 2, do you have hiring and training that's quick? You need to standardize hiring and training. Again, as we're looking to 10x, how much can our current team handle if we start to grow? At what point do we need to hire a person? We have one of the things that we run is a childcare. And so it's very lucrative. Parents need a place to put their children, and so we do it as a service to our community. And but it's a for-profit, and so parents pay a fee monthly to put their kids in. But how many teachers do I need? If I have 15 students, how many teachers do I qualify for? Do I need one and a teacher's assistant? If I'm going to scale to 20 students, if I'm going to scale to 25 students, how many teachers do I need? What's the cost for payroll in that? I need to plan all those things out. So if I get 10 times the amount of students, if I had 100 people that are saying we need a place to put our kids, what would that look like? Now again, I have a plan, I have a structure, so when it happens, I'm able to scale easily. And so it's very important, standardize the hiring and then training. What's the training for your teacher? What's your training for a teacher's assistant? We can look at anything. In marketing, we have projects, here in Pure Media we're taking in. How many clients can our marketing buyer handle? And so we do marketing through all the different platforms, and we have buyers that help to manage the accounts for our customers. How many people can that person handle? Now, if I have more than that, I need another buyer. Do I have that person lined up? We have our team, and we do our projects, and we have designers. We have people that work on websites. We have people that do social media marketing. We have people, that whatever you can think of, we can design it. But how many projects can they have? Most of our projects are, anywhere from 2 to 4 months, depending on the complexity of it. But how many people can my team handle in projects? And so when we're marketing, it'd be great if I had 50 new clients this month, but do I have the infrastructure to handle it? We've got to be able to put those things in place before we can scale. Again, things become more complex. Technology's already always changing. Is my team being trained to handle that? Again, and is it running to where I'm not having to micromanage everything, and the operations, the team, the people that are in charge of marketing, the marketing managers, our creative directors, our brand consultants, they all know how to handle the clients and sound the alarm when they need help, and they're not taking more on than they should be taking. And then what do we have? We have a problem with customer service, and our quality drops. And so we know how many contracts we can take before we need to scale. You need to work out all of those things. And then again, focus on repeated revenue streams. And we'll probably talk about this in another training because it's a whole topic in itself. But what can we do? There's subscription models where people can have a subscription for our services. There's basically memberships where people can join a membership. What do we have? We have our upsell and our downsell. So we want to create this whole ecosystem, and we'll talk about this, and it'll be another great training to do down the road. But what do? We reservice our clients. So we may help our client. We did a branding project with them. Well, what's the next steps? Well, maybe it's a website. What's the next step? Maybe it's social media marketing. What's the next step? It's a podcast, and the list goes on and on and on. But how can we have repeat revenue streams with the clients where we begin to continue to service them? In the real estate business, one of the statistics out there is that 75% of clients that bought or sold with a real estate agent would use that agent again, but most agents don't follow up with the clients. They take their paycheck and they're off on a vacation or off to the next deal, and they don't keep in touch with those customers. So the next time the customer's buying or selling, and we usually have the 7 to 10 year rule where most people, now it's even quicker sometimes, they're gonna sell or buy again or buy an investment property, but the agent's not around. But if we begin to build a system where we create repeat revenue, we stay in contact with those clients, 75% of them are gonna go and sell or buy with that agent again and have repeat business, or offer referrals, which is 50% of that business. And so knowing those statistics, we know how to create a repeat revenue stream and service those clients again, all right? Starbucks didn't scale because Howard Schultz made every coffee. How did they scale? They scaled because he built repeatable systems for training, for customer service, for operations. So when you see that green logo, you know what you're gonna get. And I go to the Starbucks near my house very often. Not that I'm against other coffee. There's other coffee places that are great, but I like the one near my house because I walk in, hey Derek, they know my order, they know my name. They have a high standard. They're in quick, and I'm usually rushing, so they have a mobile app to serve me. I walk in, hey Derek, yeah, your coffee's ready. There you go, it's there. And I'm in and out, and there's a high level of customer service, of friendliness, and a standard quality. Now, whether you like them or not, don't put in the comments, I don't like Starbucks and what's better. Come on, we all have our favorite place, but they may not necessarily have the best product. But what have they done? They've offered training, customer service, a certain standard that is there, and I know what I'm getting when I go in, all right? And so it's so important for us to understand this. And so again, what must we do as we begin to look, and we just want to go and review the points that we've had as we come through and we come to the end of our session today. Come on, as we're talking about how to build a company that runs without you, we've got to shift between being an operator to an architect. Shift our mindset. And I hope today this has helped you to do that. We got to begin to automate our processes. We've got to begin to create leadership structure that will begin to help us to do that. So adopting the mindset of an architect. Second, what do we need to do? Whoop. All right, adopt the architect's mindset. And then number two, I love this board when it works. All right, so systemize everything. All right, so systemizing everything that we're doing so that we're able to begin to monitor it and get rid of the bottlenecks. Thirdly, what did we learn? We've got to build a leadership team, people that will take ownership. And then we've got to measure what matters. Set in metrics, set in a tracking system that will begin to help you, all right? And then finally, design for scale. And that's the goal of every CEO or every entrepreneur. Come on, we want to scale. I want to 10 up my business. There's a great book out there that's easier to 10 up your business than to 1 up your business. What do you got to do? Don't just be behind the curve, behind the game, and you're just trying to rush all the time because you're overwhelmed. Put in systems that enable you to 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, up to 10. Put those things in place, and you don't have to pull the trigger yet, but you've got systems in place. You develop something. You're going to have to refine it as market changes, as industry changes, but it's in place, and you know you've got it. So all you need to do is to just have the natural organic growth that's coming in, your marketing, and you're ready to grow your business without burning out, all right? And so, again, I want to let you know that we have our Brand Builders training. It's a 3-step formula to building a multi-million-dollar brand quickly and easily, and we want to help you to dominate in your industry. So that's there in the description. Again, our 3-step formula to building a multi-million-dollar brand quickly. And so go into the description, download that. It's going to help you. All right, so what are some recaps? What are some things that we can take away from this? Again, put in the comments what was the thing that really helped you the most through this training today. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we want to bring more valuable content, or what would you like to hear from us? What training would you like us to do or to talk more about? Maybe it's something we talked about today or something else. We want to help to bring content to you to help you to kill it in your industry, all right? A real CEO designs the business. He doesn't just work on it. He doesn't just work for it. So again, we need to be those architects that are designing our business. What have we learned today? That systems and leadership are the key. That's the secret sauce to our business. Not just hard work, not just working harder, not just working longer hours, but working smarter so that we can have long-term success. And our goal isn't just to be busy. Our goal is to be strategic. So let's not just be busy. Come on, let's be strategic. And so it's so important for us, adopting that architect's mindset, systemizing, not just being busy, but working smarter, building our leadership team, measuring what matters, designing for our scale. It's so important for us. So ask yourself, what are some action steps that you can take? What are some action steps? What are the strategies that you need to begin to implement and begin to put in? Ask yourself today, even we've gone through the training, what are some things? What are some new strategies? What are some maybe deployments you need to make in your business? And maybe you have the wrong people in the wrong place. They're great people, but they're doing stuff that they're not the best at. Maybe it means hiring someone. And I said, sometimes resources, you may be an entrepreneur starting out, but come on, if you hire someone that frees you up to do what you need to do, there's always that investment, but there's going to be a return. Because now you're able to scale things and focus and bring things to a higher level, which is going to produce revenue, which is going to cover that cost. And so we need to understand those things. So what are the deployments, the things that we can do in hiring? What is a SOP that we need to create? Some SOPs that we need to create that are not in place, that are hurting our business. What are some things that we need to delegate? And This is one of the biggest thing I find with people that we're coaching is they don't like to delegate. And I get it. But you got to delegate to grow your team. Again, we've got to give authority. We've got to empower people so that we can focus on. And again, delegation is not relegation where we just don't think about it anymore. No, they're still accountable, but we're empowering them to do what they need to do. It's very important for us, and the list could go on, but put some takeaways here. Now, I'm going to answer some of the questions. We've had people contact us, and these are some of the top asked questions that we get. How do I trust my team to take over key responsibilities? How do I trust my team to take over key responsibilities? So again, how do we trust? What do we need to do? Communicate clear boundaries and expectations. So communicate to that person. I'm going to empower you to do this, but this is the boundaries. This is what the authority you have to do. This is you don't have the authority to do this, but you have the authority to do that. And give you an example. And what are your expectations in what? A reasonable time frame. And then, what's the accountability system? When are they going to check in? Is it a weekly check-in? Is it a monthly reporting? How is that going to work? So that you can also hold them accountable and also monitor their progress. And then, what's the reward? And the reward can be monetarial as they are successful, or the reward can be more autonomy. Letting people know, hey, I want to trust you. I want to do this. I'm going to try this out, but we're going to check in. And so in doing that, you have nothing to lose. If they kill it, come on, then you can give them more authority because they're leaders. You got to empower leaders. If they're not really performing, you help to refine them. You help to what? Train. So you got to develop the trust. You got to train, empower, and then you can check in. It's not going to hurt anything if they don't, because you're still, again, you're not relegating your authority, you're delegating it to them, and you're going to get them to check in. And so this is helpful for those that are going to try to raise up their team and do that. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's amazing. Most of the time it is. Other times maybe you have to go back and you have to realize, oh, well, they're not really ready for that, and go through some retraining. Another question we get is, what is the biggest mistake CEOs make when delegating? What's the biggest mistake they make when delegating? Again, I would say don't relegate. Be clear. So when you're delegating, don't relegate. Don't just, okay, you're in charge of this. I'm not going to monitor you. Go and do it and hope it works. No. Continue to be the support. Continue to help. Continue to again, to hold them accountable at periodic times. Be clear when you're delegating them. Sometimes people go off and, well, I thought this is what you wanted me to do. No. Again, giving those clear boundaries of what they are able to do, what they have authority to do, and what they're not in authority to do. And so that's very important, with the budgeting, with manpower, with those things. Again, be clear, relegate, and don't delegate, and don't begin to relegate. All right. And so what's another question that we had that's asked concerning this topic a lot? How do I balance scaling while maintaining quality? How do I balance scaling my business while maintaining quality? And that's the problem that people have out there. They're afraid to scale because they don't know whether they can handle it and keep the same level of quality. And so again, I would say, as we talked about this, it's your strategic planning. Come up with your 10x formula of what it's going to take to scale. What staff would you need? How many? What's the resources that you need? What's the support staff you would need? And so staffing, technology. If you're doing a product, maybe you need to look for more suppliers and so forth. So what it would look like. So you begin to plan that out, so you're able to double, you're able to triple, you're able to follow the demand because you have your formula, you have your strategy that's there. And so that's going to help you. Don't be behind the curve and you're trying to catch up and you're responding to the market. You want to preempt the market, and so therefore you're ready. Again, you've got to refine things, but you already have a plan in place, which helps you to scale naturally. And then back to the part about quality, again, keep checking in with your customers. Are we losing quality? Is the feedback getting worse? What's the feedback from our client? What's the feedback from our customer? Continuing training to keep the new staff that are coming in having the same quality that's there. And so that's very important. That feedback will help us so we can scale. And again, you don't want to scale too fast where you're not able to handle it. But if you have those systems in place, you can develop it. And what's the time frame? Maybe it's going to take you 3 months to scale. It's going to take you a month to scale and hire and get people trained. What does that look like? And so you begin to preempt. If I'm coming to a place where I'm going to double, okay, I need to start implementing this now so I can triple, so I can quadruple. So that's very important for you, all right? And so hope this has been a great impact to you. If you want to truly scale your business, come on, the work starts today. You got to put these things into place. You got to start scaling your business and in place. And again, adopt the architect's mindset, systemize everything, build a leadership team, measure what matters, and design for scale. And as you begin to do this, these systems, and you taking leadership in this area, it's going to allow your company to grow even when you're not there. And that's what I love. When I go away or I'm out speaking somewhere or traveling or doing things, come on, the team is killing it. The standard is there. There's accountability, and I can trust. I built a dream team. I built a team that's going to continue to take ownership even while I'm not there. And so again, we hope you have been impacted by this training. Subscribe to our channel. Hit that subscribe button if you've not done so you can get notified, and hit there so you get notified of the next time our trainings are coming. We've got a plan. We've got a lot of great content. It's going to be coming to you every week. So look out for it, and don't miss out on the content. Again, go to the description. Take advantage of all the resources that we've had provided to help you dominate your market. We've got our ebook. We've got our free consultation call, all the downloads that are available for you, the free survey to help you and to evaluate the health of your business. Again, we're going to add tools here at Pure Media that are going to help you to kill it in your industry. Put in the comments, again, any other content that you would like to see, how you've been impacted, and what was the aha for you in this training, and we'll see you in the next training.